And just on a political point, and I think we need to make sure that the numbers of Sikhs are counted, because even things like representation in the political processes in the Houses of Parliament, we need more Sikhs to become politicians, to get involved in the process. We should have more Sikh MPs and people in the upper house. But that will only happen if we say, well, there is, a real representation. There is a large proportion of population who come from this community, and look what they're actually contributing. Again, this point is it is actually for us to celebrate. When we look at the statistics, it's not just that our Sikhs are in professions and they are in employment, but they're also really good entrepreneurs. And it's the entrepreneurs who drive the economy. And we talk now about big society in recession. This government is looking to communities, and they're looking to entrepreneurs to take us out of the recession. And we should be celebrating the fact that we got so many successful Sikhs who run businesses, create employment, create wealth in this country. And that should be acknowledged and celebrated.
I think you both touched on some very key areas there for me as well. I'm a professional, and there's a lot of professionals out there, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and you're right. We need to fill this in correctly, we need to be counted, we need to document that fact. But also for our kind of future, would you say we need to promote the right values within our children, and this is a key way that this will be counted within this form as well, for the future generations.
Absolutely. I think the question of Sikh identity is an old one. Yeah. You see, we have a history which is about 524 years old, I think. And in 1918, the first report that was done by the British government in India at the time, they identified the Sikhs as a very distinct qawm, or an ethnic minority. And after that, 9 times, up until 1947, whenever the question of Sikh identity came up, Sikhs were seen as a very distinct community. In fact, we were at the roundtable discussions around Indian partition, weren't we? And then in 1983, I think a landmark victory was won in this country through the Mandla versus Lee case, when the Sikhs were legally recognized as an ethnic minority. So the question is of Sikh identity, particularly for the future generations, is an important one. You see, if you only saw my colour, you would know I'm a Sikh. This is me declaring my identity. If you didn't see me, so therefore you didn't see my colour, then at least if you saw Singh or Kaur being used as part of my name, you would identify me as a Sikh. So I think this 2011 census is very much about the Sikh identity. It is about us standing up and declaring that we are Sikhs and we want to be counted. We matter.
And just on a rider on that, and I think we've got to also bear in mind our next generation, the 4th generation Sikhs. And you're absolutely right, Gurmel Paji, they don't use Singh or Kaur in the middle name. It's easier. And also when you ask the question, because they're into modern contemporary Sikhs, they're saying, well, my religion is personal to me. I don't have to wear symbols or actually use my middle name to declare who I am. It is very personal. So that's why the census is so important, because when you register, you might actually tick the Sikh origin. So the young children may actually say, yes, I'm a Sikh by origin, but they may not actually tick the religious affiliation box. They would say, well, I don't want to declare that. So therefore, at least this time around, we've got 2 opportunities to capture the information. In the previous census, we didn't have the option of ticking the other box. Only we could actually do the religious box, which is not about identity, it's about religion.
Yeah. My next question was, I think we've touched on it within the conversation we've just had, but it was based around, what experience can you both share about the census in however long you've been participating with it, and also how the last census affected our Sikh community. So we've already touched around those kind of points. So is there anything further that you'd like to add to those kind of things?
I'll just share a personal experience with you. In 1991 census, I was a census officer. And this was soon after the poll tax debate. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, well, I was a student at that time.
You're probably too young for it.
You didn't have to pay.
You're probably too young for it. But I had an enormously difficult task, as did other census officers, in getting people to complete the forms, because people actually went into hiding. Yeah. And the 1991 census actually showed a drop because so many people didn't declare themselves, and many landlords who were afraid didn't declare all the tenants in their buildings. And that affected the social planning for a good 10 years after that. And local authorities were really having to do further mini census types of exercises in order to try to get better statistics in order to inform the planning. Yeah, and I think in this case, my other experience is, I think there is some confusion between national identity and your identity in terms of your ethnicity. Now, I can be a British Sikh, Indian Sikh, Canadian Sikh, Australian Sikh, American Sikh. You see, those are my national identities. In terms of my geographical identity or country of origin, from historical Punjab, which was from the borders of Afghanistan all the way to Delhi, majority of the Sikhs originate from that. You know, and there's no question about it. Our great forefathers originated from it, and I think 10 generations from here, people will still say we originate from that historical Punjab. But we're not talking about that here. What we're talking about here is the Sikhs being a distinct qawm, a distinct ethnic minority. And I appreciate there are some differences between the two words, but the legal definition of ethnic minority captures what the Sikh qawm is, and we need to now make sure that people, one, understand it, and secondly, on the census form, absolutely claim it.
Okay.
Okay, and you asked the question, the implications. Again, I think if you want an example of if we don't register the information, especially I use the example of, again, elderly people or people who are ill. And the example we keep on using, because we have personal experience here, because we train Sikh chaplains to go and work with Sikh patients in hospitals. And when we ask for funding, they say, well, there isn't a very large Sikh community, is there? So you don't really need that many Sikh chaplains. And that's just one example that because the information is not in the census, they actually rely on saying, well, resources should go to that particular community. But now we're finding that obviously, like in any other community, the Sikh elderly are living to, again, 80, 90, and they need a lot of help. They actually spend a lot of time in the hospital, and they do need that Sikh chaplain to come and talk to them and pray with them.
Yeah. I think we've talked about various points. Now, what should the Sikh community be doing? We've touched on this. I think we need to reiterate the point to the viewers out there and to get the information out there. We've talked about the ethnic group, what that means, the ethnicity. We've talked about the religious kind of means, what our identity. So what should we, to reiterate the point, because I'm going to show the form in a minute and we'll show the boxes, but what else do we need to kind of like, what other messages do we need to send out there?
Okay, the key message I would say, is because there's a lot of personal information about how many people live in your house, how old are they, is your house freehold, are you renting, okay, are you living in a council house? And I think we've got to stress that fear of information being used personally. The census information collects obviously personal information, but when it's actually reported, it is anonymized, it is statistics. Right. And we should not have any fear that it is going to be used. Like you're saying, 1991, a lot of people didn't participate because they thought, well, if I declare, I then may have to pay my poll tax because it was about individual rather than the household.
Key point that, this thing of, there's a lot of fear out there around data, how it's going to be held, how it's going to be stored.
Big brother watching,
all of those kind of things. So it's about alleviating that and getting people to participate and to take part in the process. Gurmel, would you?
No, I think I would re-echo that, but the point is really, really important. It's only the data is used, names aren't used. So, in a cross-reference nahi karde hage. For example, for the sake of argument, they won't cross-reference with the council tax data. Right. And the reason for that is because it is done on good faith and the data is kept in an anonymized, nameless kind of a way. Yeah, so people needn't have that fear.
That's right. You're not going to get a notice from your TV license saying, you live in this house and our database saying you haven't got. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. And also, there's no links with the tax and all those kind of things either.
No. This is very anonymized, purely statistical data. That's the way it's used.
And we've got to get that message over, and we've got to capture how many people live, because there is quite a lot of, not in pockets, maybe overcrowding. Yeah. People live in houses with 6 children, and we're not recording it. And they may be actually living in council houses, and we do want to say, yes, we have these sort of problems, which are social housing problems and other economic problems.
Let's just show the form. This is the form, and this is going to come through your doors, everyone out there in the country, all the people that live in the country. It will come in the post. This form can be completed by yourselves by pen and posted back. And like our guests have said today, Gurmel and Professor Upkar Singh, it's a legal document, so we must do it and complete everything in there. It can also be done online. So for those of you who want to do it online, there's a facility for you to do it online as well. Okay, what I'm going to talk about now is just what do we need to fill in on the actual form. What sections are very key and important. It's actually, we're looking at section 16, and it should be section E, any other ethnic group, and Sikh in there, which is for the ethnicity. And this is a compulsory question, so it's 16E, other, Sikh. And also number 20 is a voluntary question, which is about the religion. So I hope that all of you are Sikhs out there, and you will tick the Sikh box as well for that. Do both of you want to add anything to that?
Yes, so just to emphasize, 16 can be very confusing, question 16, because it's actually asking about ethnic origin, ethnicity. And it has got sections in there where you can actually look at section 16C, which says you could tick you are of Indian origin or Pakistani origin or Bangladeshi origin and so forth. And it actually does have an option box there which says other. But that is actually more about the country you come from. Okay, so for example, if you're from Vietnam, you would actually put other Vietnam, Vietnamese or Philippine or whatever it may be. That's why it is really important to have a look at question 16C, which says other ethnic group. And they've got an example there as Arab, and the other then box is other, and you tick that. Yep, and you put
16E.
16E,
yeah.
That's right. It says, yeah, 16E.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where you actually have the option to put Sikh. I think you want to emphasize that?
No, well, I think you said it really well. And as I said, my sense is for people not to feel that somehow they're letting their country of national origin down by not taking the C category. Because actually, this isn't what this is about. This is really about your ethnic origin. And as Paddy said, 16E, taking the other box and then putting Sikh there is the appropriate response.
Okay, thank you for that. There's two websites, and there may be some more. I'm sure the Sikh Council are going to be putting some information together as well. The ones that I've got here are www.sikhcensus.org, which will have all the information on there that you need around what we've talked about today, and also the main census website, which is www.census.gov.uk. I hope that you found today's programme helpful and useful for completing the upcoming census form. And we thank today's guests, Gurmel Singh and Professor Upkar Singh, for being with us and sharing their experiences and knowledge. And thank you for you at home for tuning in and taking this information on board. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
To register your ethnicity as Sikh, go to page 16, question 16, section E. This refers to your ethnicity. Tick the box labelled Other, then write Sikh in the empty box below. To register your religion as Sikh, go to page 16, question 20, and tick the box labelled Sikh